Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another edition live trading. Getting right to the drawings here because we have very obvious trading range. Hey, Bill, good morning. Hey, Gregory, good morning. All right. Well, there we have the action so far. Nestled in a tight trading range. Looks like we're starting to not fill as much on the top and the bottom. It's getting a bit wedge-like. Hopefully we can break out of that. Deck as well. Similar structure on the Nasdaq. It looks like we're at the top of the range though. Hey, Pepe. Good to see you. All right, so that's basically what we got going on the Nasdaq. Johnny is asking, is this good context for a failed second entry long on the Nasdaq? Yeah, I would say so. Clear range. Overall short bias, so you're looking to short. We traded down into the range, right? This uptrend has played out. The break in a new high. We're coming from the top of the range, so we're expecting a move down here. First entry long. Get one more entry long and a bearish bar. That would definitely be a decent trade. It looks like the Nasdaq is just frozen in time right now. Barely going in. Johnny says, kind of scary because ES might be due for a bounce by the time the failed second entry long sets up. Yeah. Good note. Good note. I'm glad you're watching both markets and trying to help that inform your decision. I just have to wait and see. ES is still several points away from the bottom of the range there. Hey, morning, Robin. Yeah, we do have news at 10 for sure. Is there 9:45 news too? 9:45 news is CL Fuller event. Shouldn't move the market any. The main one is at 10 a.m. We got ISM services and jolts at the same time. We will definitely want to be flat when that comes. And it looks like on the Nasdaq, we may have moved too far down for a failed second entry long at this point. Have perhaps one more bar that we can consider it forming. And the S&P very close to the bottom of the range here. Hey, good morning, Candlestick. Hope you are good today. We are one tick away from that low there. Still in this short-term channel. But we still might see a break. And if we get a break here and a second entry short, I'd still be interested in that. We haven't quite reached the bottom yet. We still have room. So I think a short is still possible there. The Nasdaq, we still could get a failed second entry long if we come in this area. Looks like pretty much all the markets right now are in range. I'm looking at gold, pretty much in range. Crude oil, same. The small caps are in a range, along with the S&P and Nasdaq. So nothing out of those that running far, and those are the major ones. Maybe lean hog futures or something is taking off, but soybean futures, water chestnut futures, maybe that's trending right now, but everything else is in a range. Good morning, Juan. Hey, what's up, Shayak? Good morning. Okay, moved too far for sure on Nasdaq for the failed second entry long. The ES is now at the bottom of the range. So both of those indices moved a little bit too far down to consider a short. Right, curious to see if we get a bounce here at the bottom of the range on the S&P. Gold does have a possibility for a failed second entry long here. If you're interested in checking out some other markets, we are expecting a new low to be formed on gold, so that could set up. On the ES, this does kind of look like an overshoot if this moved down. See if that can generate some a reversal here to the upside. Hey, North Country, good morning. If we can get below this range and confirm it, still could be interested in a short. If we get down here somewhere and test what used to be support and it acts as resistance, we can then look for a short from this level on downward, and that would make sense too. Zooming out, remember that we did trade down into this range, so typically the direction going into the range will be continued going out of it. We could get like a measured move from here, something like this. Oh no, North Country. Your Ninja Trader data subscription expired and you didn't change the option in NT8. That is a bummer. I had the same experience of just going nuclear on my laptop, trying just about every solution. Fix the data problem for my bars not being refreshed right, and I honestly don't even know what the solution was. They're good now, but I tried so many different things I can't pinpoint what exactly it was that succeeded. So oof, up at 3 a.m. fiddling with stuff. Yikes. Well, hopefully you have enough sleep to make it happen today and trade safely. I will say I had a terrible night's sleep last night. I am like barely awake here. Yeah, and if nothing's going in the market, you know, after first 45 minutes or so, I may actually end it early and go to bed, get some shut-eye. You're in Europe, slept in. Dang it. Dang it. Jealous. Robin asked, do we need a Ninja Trader data subscription if we trade through Rhythmic? No. If you only trade through Rhythmic through like Apex or another prop firm or something, you do not need a Ninja Trader subscription. It comes with an Apex account, for example. Market open in 4 minutes. Nice little bounce off of the low of the range here on ES. See if that continues. All right, market is not even open yet. We have a massive push up. Hey, good morning, Greg. It's like the kind of bounce you would get after a break into extreme of a channel, but really any way you look at it, this channel is still valid. We just had a V-shaped reversal here. Could get another push down. Market's open now. We'll see what happens. The Nasdaq kind of reached the bottom of the channel, and we did have this overshoot, so bounce does make sense there. Good morning, all of you who are just popping in. Welcome, welcome. Market is open. We are live. Scalping Nasdaq and S&P futures. How strong this push it up is on ES. Could get a wider channel here. Nas might get a V-shaped reversal here to the downside. Yes, so far is holding the EMA. If we can get below the EMA, we might consider a short, but it looks like we might continue going up here. We are in the middle of the range, so it's a bit dicey either way. However, this is a nice move up and the EMA is holding. If we can get a second entry here, might have to take it. And this might be our second entry, but it is not quite touching the EMA, so I'm going to hold off on that one. Chi says gap open. Yep, there is a gap to the upside. That would be one positive to taking a long trade. Those gaps tend to be filled. See if the EMA holds here. Not so much. Nasdaq might form better. Nope, closed below the EMA on both, so that would have had to set up really, really good to consider. Dang, look at this bar. This might be pretty juicy. See how it finishes. ES is finishing way high. Oh man, that's a little bit too big for my blood. That would have finished closer to the EMA. Pretty solid choice to, pretty solid chance to take, rather. Big bar, maybe it would have worked out already. Where are we at? 2 to 8. No, still would have been in it. Back on the S&P, we do have that second entry. This would be a higher low. But we do have bearish channel working downside though. Bit wide for this range, so it might actually already be played out. But either way, we're headed below the EMA, so it doesn't matter. Boom. Launched up on the Nasdaq. Would have worked perfectly. Dang, look at it take off. Man, oh man. So if you took a chance on this large signal bar on the Nasdaq, you were heavily rewarded here. Might be getting close to the gap fill even. Gap fill is all the way up here. That would be the next area we would target. But the ES is not even moving up in sympathy. Look at this. Still just chopping around after the Nasdaq had a massive push up. Here's that gap on the ES if we ever get up that way. Did anyone end up taking that second entry long on the Nasdaq? Nice, Johnny took it as it engulfed. Sweet, that's a really good entry. Interesting, North Country. Yeah, I would go to, what is it again? I'm trying to remember where that setting is. Options, tools, options, market data, and then preferred connection, real time. Oh, that's what you need to look at. Options, market data, preferred connection, real time. Play around with that. Well, if you only have rhythmic, then you would need to do a preferred connection to rhythmic. I'm just going off what you said. You canceled your subscription to NinjaTrader data, right? So go to market data, preferred connections, real time, and select rhythmic for NinjaTrader brokerage. That's what I've done at least, and it works for me. Hopefully that will help. And Nasdaq is moving down. Kind of figured when the ES wasn't following that move at all, didn't even flinch, that it was not going to last. Already the NAS is responding to that EMA. Like it might want to move higher here. Yeah, still chopping downwards. And we do have news in about 20 minutes, so the market might be waiting for that. Bummer. Sorry you're having those issues, North Country. That's no fun at all. Is your clock synchronized on rhythmic? Like if you go into your rhythmic and look at the bottom right corner, is there a big lag between the time? It's another thing to check. I sync my clock every morning. Otherwise, there ends up being a pretty big difference. Nasdaq, another move up. This does move higher than that. Looks like a breaking new extreme of this larger channel. Meanwhile, the ES just broke this kind of choppy downward move, so may have another move to the downside. You're looking for some other markets to trade. The small caps are in a steady decline. Nice downward trend there. We could wait for a pullback and a second entry short on small caps. Hey Dave, welcome to the stream. Good to have you. How much there is in one lot of the mini ES Mini 500? Not sure exactly what you mean. But if you have one E-mini contract, every tick is worth $12.50. And 1 point, meaning like from here to here, be $50. We have somewhat of a two-legged move here on the S&P. It looks like it's bouncing. Nasdaq yet again, EMA holding. Might be slightly wider. Morning, Toad. I think from I hear you 66. And thanks for the question. No worries asking, but I don't think I want to go completely silent on the music, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see on that. We'll see on that. It's very low compared to my voice, so I don't know. I'll go back and listen to some live streams and see what it sounds like. I might be able to adjust that. Dave, okay, so Dave's clarifying his question. How much does it cost to open the position? Dave, I would encourage you, before you're opening any positions, definitely do some research. Good old friend Google will do you right. Depends on your broker, right? There's different margin requirements. Yeah, so there's an initial margin of like how much you need in your account to be able to trade, and then they have intraday margin. So if your account balance goes low, they'll still allow a certain amount in your account to open a position. So on Ninja Trader, I'm trying to remember what it is. I don't know off the top of my head. I think it's like it's a couple thousand for a one mini contract. But if you're asking those questions, definitely don't even consider opening any positions. Go on a simulated account and try some things out, and play around. Try to develop your trading for many months before you even consider live. And then once you do, start with micros, not minis. Hey Johnny, the 500 per contract is intraday margin. It's not the initial margin required to open a position. You'd need actually more initially in the account. But yeah, you can just Google that. Pretty straightforward. Yes, right. If you're day trading, it is 500. I do know that on Ninja Trader, but if you're planning on holding any positions after the close, the initial margin is what you'd look at. But yeah, please, if there's anyone else out there that's a new trader, don't put $500 into account and open a position on many contracts. You will promptly lose that money. Which is the wonderful benefit of doing evaluation accounts through Apex. Like it gives you, because I know personally, paper trading like is just so hard for me because there's no skin in the game. You can kind of just open and close positions no problem with no emotions. It doesn't really help you develop your emotional game, which is like 90% of it. So having some skin in the game by doing like an eval account, for instance, is to me a great happy medium between paper trading and live trading. So you can still feel the feeling of like risk, being able to manage that, but also not have to lose a ton of capital. Some hater doesn't want you to be financially free. Yeah, exactly, Dave. All right, we're still a ways from the EMA on the Nasdaq, but this channel is for sure confirmed. We can come down and get a higher, well, I guess we have a new high here, so we can get a second entry long on the Nasdaq. I like it. Headed towards that gap fill. If there's any sort of channel we can find on the S&P. And news is coming out in 7 minutes, everybody, so please be flat. It's gonna get wild in here. Yes, totally, Dave. I definitely would. Definitely would. The best way to learn how to trade really is just a lot of time. A lot of screen time. Putting in the hours watching price, just moves, observing how it moves, getting a feel for what happens, starting to write down notes of like, oh, when this happens, what do I expect, and then what actually happens. Like there's no substitute for experience, that's for sure. Yeah, that's definitely it, Dave. You got to look at the next couple years, right? It's for sure trading is not a way to make quick money. Well, it is. It can be, but it's also a way to quickly lose money. So it can go either way. It's essentially like, you know, if you don't know what you're doing, it's like buying a lotto ticket. Yeah. So, but if you can educate yourself, put a few years in, that's when you can start to see success. Melvin asks, how did I fix my emotion? Because Melvin has struggled on it for the first few years, or no, did struggle on it during the first few years, managing, accepting a loss and not revenging on it. Yeah, that is the hardest part. For me personally, I've mentioned this before, but I think the biggest thing for me to make some progress on my emotional game was tracking my stats and then trusting them. So seeing that, like, oh man, I traded way too much, and if I only would have done this one setup according to my stats, I would be profitable. So and oh, if I just took that one loss and didn't do anything else for the rest of the day, then I still would have been profitable. But instead, this is what happened. So having a lot of data behind you, for me, really opened my eyes to like, okay, this is what the numbers are telling me. This is exactly what I need to do. If I do that, I'll be good to go. And then I could just like chill. You know, I didn't feel like I had to, like, oh man, I had a loss, I need to make it up. Well, no. Looking at my data showed that like I should just probably wait, and you know, maybe get a trade the next day or something. So that's been the most helpful thing for me. Nasdaq very close to filling the gap here. We're 3 minutes away from the news. Bummer, both indices look pretty good for a long, but this news is probably gonna screw everything up. And already we're seeing a little bit of volatility. News isn't even out yet. Heart removal, only solution. Greg's right. Greg's right. I do sell a heart removal service. A good question, Dave. How many points on average do I make in a month? I would say probably around 20 points or so per month. Okay, we got 40 seconds until the news. Woo-wee. There we go. That is why you stay flat for news, boys and girls. PMI came in a little bit better than expected. Jolts is still pending, at least on my screen. Ooh, Jolts came in quite a bit below. So job openings down. And why is that a green bar? As we've talked about many times. Bad economic news right now is typically been good for the market because it means they're less likely to raise rates. Nasdaq filled the gap. Right, well, the Nasdaq continuing higher, so we might just consider widening this channel a little bit to accommodate for that news. S&P, and hard to do that. Doesn't look great. And I think this original channel looked pretty good, so we'll see if it continues higher. We're going to be forced to make a bigger channel. For now, I think we're just going to leave it as is. All right, the gap is filled on the S&P as well. I'm going to pop over to the 10,000 tick chart to see if that offers any insight into how we might draw this action. Goes straight up. Yeah, I mean, this looks like one big channel here. Coming right up to that resistance level. Yeah, that channel looks here. You basically have to cut out that rando break. Maybe that's what we'll do. As long as it continues to hold. Or, other possibility would just be to do this in a secondary channel. Oops. See if the EMA holds. If it does, we might consider a long. Channel on Nasdaq's looking pretty good. Yeah, so it looks like that secondary channel wasn't legit. I think the better setup is going to come on the Nasdaq. A lot more orderly. The channel is very obvious. Coming off the high. EMA can hold. We can get going on a long. Another market to look at right now, crude oil in a nice solid uptrend. Currently at a resistance level, but if it can maintain above, you might get a nice long.
You know they're out there, don't you?
Didn't quite get to the EMA on this one, the NAS, so gotta hold off there. Could get a steeper correction coming off the top. The NAS, or sorry, the S&P already has moved down, break new low, so that downtrend might already be played out. Maybe we get a wider channel that comes into play right here if this can hold. Okay, right at that possible wider trend line. See if we can push above the EMA. And if we do, I do like the possibility of a higher low. But yeah, Nasdaq is a little bit more immediate. Thanks for that call out, Toad. Currently we have a first entry, second entry. It is getting a little bit stacked in here. Don't like that. But if this continues to hold and we get a nice bullish bar, especially if we can clear out some of these stops right here, move down, lure in some shorts and a strong reversal, it's going to be pretty hard to pass up. There we go. Let's see what it does. Move down, entice some shorts, finish bullish. ES is looking like it might be breaking that trend line. So if it keeps dropping down, we got to respect that. And the Nasdaq's moved way too far anyway. I was just wanting it to peek through some of these orders here and reverse strongly, but looks like the selling pressure is actually legit. At the wider channel though. Wow, look at that strong move up on the Nasdaq. See if a higher low develops. ES2, yeah, I had a nice little push up. Yep, rejection here. Looks like the ES is going to go lower. We had some hopefuls trying to buy that wider trend line. But the range may win out here, folks. At the top of the range, exactly, candlestick. Also, can you draw a head and shoulder? That's a good point. It's been a while since we've gotten to draw a good head and shoulder. We might get it too. We might get it. You have a little shoulder here, you know. The head, got some spiky hair. Maybe we can get one more shoulder here. Could be, guys. Be on the lookout for this pattern. I think it should be quite obvious to all traders. So far on the Nasdaq, this trend line holding. So waiting for that push above the EMA to confirm it, and then a higher low. And be the only way I'd enter here. Small caps had a nice failed second entry long. Too busy marveling at this news move. Catch it. Crude oil still looks pretty good for a long. Come on, little Nasdaq. Push above the EMA. Let's go, baby. Price is struggling there. I'm watching this intently to see if prices can actually get, here we go. All right, so we're above the EMA. If prices can close here, that will be perfect. And then we'll just need a higher low, which would actually, well, this is actually our failed second entry short. So I don't think I'm going to personally take it, but if you are so inclined, here it is. First entry short, second entry short. If that fails, it could get going. There's your trigger. Probably just should have taken it. I didn't realize we were already on the second entry. I thought we were only on the first entry, so I was waiting for one more, but it was not looking close enough. Again, I'm working on a couple hours of sleep here, folks. Yeah, that was pretty solid. So if you took that, good job. Congrats. Yes, also pushing above the EMA. We're going to need a second entry long at this point. Sleepy Joe. Yep. That's it. That's what we are doing today. I am Sleepy Joe. Nice, Toad. You took that on the Nasdaq. Yeah, I'd probably give it around the same rating. Had a lot of stuff going for it. Trend line was holding. Downtrend already had 2 legs to a new low. Second entry short, close above the EMA. Yeah, if I would have been more with it, I would have taken that for sure. But that's how it goes, man. You're not always gonna get every setup that you're looking for. Even if you're sharp and on it, things just happen, you know. You look away for a minute, or you just weren't quite with it mentally. But the big trick is just to not dwell on it, not beat yourself up over it. Just wait for the next setup. There will always be another setup. Beautiful confirmation of our trend line on the Nasdaq. Fortunately, we didn't reach the top here, so we might be starting to roll over. Ooh, ES looking pretty good here. Have not made a new high yet. And we have a nice bounce off the EMA. Want to see a good looking bounce here. Move up, break, first entry. Need to see the EMA hold here. Can consider the second entry long here. I don't like how weak this first entry was. Barely got above the EMA. You can take that if you're so inclined. I think I'll wait for a higher low. Okay, here we go. This will be our setup if it can form. Be a nice bullish rejection, bullish finish. Let's go, baby. Come on now. Nasdaq moving down. That's not a great sign. Nope, no dice. And again, the Nasdaq was giving us a clue there that prices were going to go down as there was so much space on the top of the channel. You want to see prices oscillating between the top and the bottom of the channel for it to be really healthy. When you start to get this imbalance, that's when, you know, we might be rolling over here. And then on the ES, the reason I didn't take that, you have this great move up, right? Beautiful looking move up. You know you want to get long. Here's the break. This is a really steep move to the EMA. You want to see a solid rejection. You know, like one big bounce to up here would be perfect, but then you just get this tiny little bounce in the second entry right there. Prices hadn't really moved much, right? We just like barely or right here. That's just more like congestion. You want to see bounce like this and then your second entry like that. So that higher low would have formed there. That would have been absolutely money. But then the market showed us, nope, that's not what's happening. And great. Saved us from a losing trade. You need that confirmation though. Dave is asking, so if price action is trending up, makes a higher low, and if the green rejection candle forms above the EMA, then that would be a signal to enter long. Yes, as you'll find, Dave, I know you're just starting out your journey. There's a lot of nuances, right? Like this is a skill that you have to develop over time. So you're not going to have a straight rule set. Like if this exact thing happens, then you always go long. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that. You have to get to know the context, and that it really just takes time. But yes, in general, a couple main things would be if price action is trending up, you are only looking for a long, and so you want to see confirmation of that. And one confirmation would be prices staying above the EMA. And like, let's see if we can find a good example. Unfortunately, we don't because everything is so choppy today. But yeah, you want to see prices staying above the EMA, and you would only go long over a green candle, a nice green candle. You're not going to go long over a red candle. So the main pattern we're trading is a second entry. So looking for prices to go up, a pullback like this, one attempt to go higher, another pullback, and then on the second attempt to go higher is when you want to take the trade. So that's what we were looking for right here, right? Was prices is going up. We know we want to get long. Here's the pullback. One attempt by the bulls, pullback, second attempt. That's what you really want to see. But this was a little nuanced why we wouldn't take this one. And that's why if this candle would have been green, closed above the EMA, bullish, that's the one you want to take. That would have been a beautiful one leg, two legs like that. And that is really the only thing that I'm doing here. So that's the pattern I'm looking for over and over and over again. Just need confirmation from the market. Didn't quite set up there, but it will eventually, right? Hey, good morning, Archer. Yeah, exactly, Dave. You want to see price action be confirmed. So reading the candlesticks, it'll tell you if price is confirmed or not, right? So that's the number one pattern to see confirmation is a second entry. Pull back, one attempt to go higher, pull back, and another attempt to go higher with green bars. So just imagine that this would have been a green body. That would be perfect because the EMA is holding here and here and here. You're already in this uptrend. You're expecting a new high. Yeah, the more confirmations you can have from the market that is going to go in one direction or the other, the better. So we have another possibility here. We have a big move up. So it's the same deal. This is exactly what we were looking for last time. We have a move up. So we're wanting to get long. Now we're just waiting for a pullback. We're waiting for prices to pull back. We want to see them get to the EMA. We want to see one attempt up, another pullback. And then right at this point is when we want to see a nice green bullish bar. And if we get that and it's closing above the EMA, that is the bread and butter strategy we're working here, and then we can get a long setup. So notice that before anything has even happened, I know exactly what I'm looking for, right? There's no guesswork here. There's no, oh man, maybe I'll enter long here. Like, I know what the market has to do for me to have confidence in taking the trade. So now that I've mapped it out, I'm just going to wait for that to develop. And if and when it does, I will be able to execute with no emotions. I'm trading my plan. I know it has an edge. Joe's bread and butter. Candlestick, good question. Into a nasty resistance area. I mean, yes, you can clearly see that the market is struggling around these levels, right? And that's true, right? So I would not take a long trade up in here trying to break through that level. But if we're down here, we can play the shortened channels. And because we're only going to be taking a trade from like right around here to right around here. That's the only move I care about. I don't care if the market's going to get above these levels, right? I just want to see this setup form here and make it from that distance right there. That's it. That's all I care about. You can buy that bread at Trader Joe's. Okay, so here we go. We had our pullback. Just like I drew out, this would be the first attempt to go long by the bulls. But we did not even get a tick higher. So as you can see, we have our pullback here, and no bar has gone higher than the previous bar. So we don't even have our first entry yet. Nasdaq has the possibility for same setup if the EMA can hold. Again, move up. We have a break. I'm expecting continuation of that move. So we'll see if the EMA can hold as confirmation. On the ES, we're already below the EMA, not a good sign. Need to see a push above for me to consider anything. Here we go. Nice push above. That is our first entry. Pullback. First attempt to go long. We just need to see one more pullback, one more attempt. We can get long here. Nasdaq already has a new high. Could consider widening this channel. But okay, let's see how this forms here on S&P. Do not like how the prices just slice through the EMA there. No bueno. So this is not setting up great, and that's okay. Like I said, we're mapping out exactly what the market needs to do to convince us to risk our capital. And if it doesn't set up, then it doesn't set up. No worries. Wait for the next chance. Yes, not looking great. We have the EMA not showing any signs of support, right? We slice through here, slice through here. So gonna hold off on that, but the Nasdaq is hopeful. Getting that pullback here. If the EMA can hold, show signs of support, then we can consider taking a long. Second entry long did work on the S&P, so if you decided to risk this, it did pay off. I already explained why I didn't really trust this setup, but that is the power of second entries, is even when they're not great, they often work out. Nasdaq already has a break and new high of this channel, so we have to pause longs here. Robin's signal bar was red. Yeah, I mean, hey, if your signal bar was red there, don't even consider it. So now the ES as well. The move is played out in price action. When you have a trend and it gets a break, you expect a new extreme to be formed. And when it is, you expect prices to go the other way. So exactly what happened here. Move up, break, new high. Now we're expecting a correction or reversal. And I would be interested in a failed second entry long here. We already have our first entry. You need to see a push below the EMA here. Johnny says we might still be trying to make a new high of NQ. Yeah. Totally agree. This trend on the Nasdaq was very much confirmed all the way up through here. This is our first break. And now with that push above the EMA, I would expect for us to create a new high. Doesn't look like we will have a solid way to enter that. And this is really where we would want to get that entry, is what we were looking for. But it's already starting to float up, so don't think we'll get a chance to enter before that high, but we'll see. Let's see. Let it do its thing. It might present something to us. We are putting in basically another range here on S&P 500, starting at the top of our previous range. We have not been able to really break out to a new high. This will now be a triple top if we get rejected here. Oh, Archer. Bold move, bold move. It'll probably work. I don't really trade those anymore. But yeah, if you're so inclined, this range has been pretty consistent, up and down, very healthy looking range. And now we're coming up to the top. This might be a good opportunity for a sell. We do have this move up that has a break a new high too, so that could be played out. You just want to see, confirmation. Don't just blindly sell up here. You want to see a nice bearish reversal bar, something like this, right? And then even safer bet would be to get that bar like this one here and then wait for a lower high. I'm widening the trend on the Nasdaq as it just keeps floating higher. Actually, that is the new high, so keep that. Unless this really establishes itself on its own, that is likely the new high of our large uptrend. Large uptrend, break. Or that was a little sketchy. Break, new high. And at this point, we would expect a correction or reversal, but this was pretty strong. So, I'm not expecting a massive reversal here, to be honest. Likely just a little, something like this, and then we probably will just continue higher. Yes, however, could definitely see a move down. I don't think there's any way to draw a wider pattern unless we're going for something like, yeah, that doesn't look, that's way too wide for this range structure. But even that has a break and a new high. See if the 10K tells us anything. Yeah, this looks basically exactly like we had it drawn. Channel up, two legs to a low, to a new low, new high. This move is played out with a break and new high, expecting a correction or reversal. So I would be interested in a failed second entry long here, and that's probably the last possible setup I'll take on the stream. Oops, not a failed second entry short. So because of all the reasons I mentioned, all the uptrends look like they're played out. On the 2000 tick, we have a pretty clear range here. And the majority of breakouts of a trading range will fail. So if we can push down below the EMA, get a failed second entry long, might be a good setup. So far, the top of the range is holding. Possibility of a wider trend here. It'll have to be pretty convincing. Yeah, I hear you, Archer. I hear you. I always try to remember, when it comes to price action, there is no suck. Sounds bad, but it just is what it is, right? You get what the market gives you, and part of being successful at trading is wading through the stuff that isn't high probability, that doesn't line up right. And so it can for sure be frustrating and feel like, this sucks, it's never giving us setups. But ultimately, it's like market's gonna do what it's gonna do, and it's our job just to be patient and wait for the right moments. I didn't take that signal bar, Melvin, because that was not a two-legged pullback. That was not a second entry. It was just a first entry. You had your high here and a pullback first entry. Now, if that had been a second entry, I probably would have taken it. I'd been much more inclined to, at least. We had a first entry right here and then another pullback. That's when I want to get long. I'm not into taking first entries, even if the signal bar looks really good, just because you go back and try to take all the first entries, it doesn't work out in the long run. Archer, I don't want to wait. I want it now. I know. Don't we all, my friend? Don't we all? It's a 21 period EMA, Shayak. And I believe I have it set to calculate on each tick. Yeah. So 21 period EMA calculating on each tick. No problem, Melvin. Glad to help. All right. I'm still interested in that failed second entry long if we can push below the EMA. I hear you, Greg. I hear you. Best thing I found when you're just really running out of patience, which happens to me all the time, is just take a break. Could be for an hour, could be for a day. Maybe you just need to take a day off the markets. If you're starting to feel that like, oh man, I need to place a trade, I gotta place a trade, that'd probably be a good time to just walk away for a bit, whatever that looks like to you. Okay, pushing above the range, so bias is slowly starting to shift on the S&P here. I had a couple chances to push down, not really happening, so we might get a long. Throwing things around the room is another solid option. You just want to make sure those things are relatively inexpensive. It's like asking a junkie to quit drugs for a bit. Yeah, next time you feel like you just really want to, you know, do some crack cocaine, just take a break. It'll get better, I promise. Wait, I probably can't say that word on a live stream. Sorry YouTube. I didn't mean to offend anyone. Report. Yeah, depending on where you got the cat, Archer, could be inexpensive. That might fit the criteria. Again, sorry YouTube. All right. This is family-friendly content. Okay, let's see what happens here on the S&P. We've established ourselves above the range. This is where we could consider a two-legged pullback, second entry. Again, I'm mapping out exactly what I want to see from the market. If it doesn't do that, then no worries. And wait for the next time, but this would be a high probability setup. And I'm really sorry to hear that, North Country. I hope you get that figured out. Ninja Trader forums have been pretty helpful for me over the years, so you might want to talk to them. But yeah, really hope you get that figured out, and we'll see you when you do. The Nasdaq still no sign of correction here, just kind of drifting higher. Johnny's so tempted to just go 35 NQ contracts long to finish out this 300K. Resist, Johnny, resist. It's a sure way to reverse the market when you put on a long like that. You will pick the exact top, I promise. You still can't get over how you've had that eval for over a month. That's the way to do it, man. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. It'll be much sweeter when we pass it after being patient. All right, Dave. Take care. Thanks for joining. Great questions. And yeah, go do some research. Go try to learn as much as you can about the market, about futures contracts, all that, and start putting in that time, man. Have a good one. That's true, Johnny. Yeah, if you're already have some funded accounts, it is easier to take your time on an eval. I totally understand that feeling. If like you're not funded yet and you're just like, oh, man, I want to get this thing passed so I can get funded, but that kind of thinking definitely does develop bad habits because you do want to take things slow and steady. So, you know, when you're trading funded or you're trading in a live account, you definitely don't want to have the mindset of like, oh man, I gotta make profits today. That'll just bite you. So being able to already have that mindset in an eval is really helpful. All right, well, moving up to a new high yet again, but that is good for our uptrend. So at the moment, I think that's our best potential here on the S&P is getting a long setup. So just wait. You know, once this channel has a break, we would expect a new high to be formed. Wait for that second entry, and we could get a nice setup. Yeah, it might take a bit, so I'm gonna get off the stream, but that's what I'd be looking for, that second entry long on the S&P. Definitely check out Twitter to catch some updates on the market, and appreciate y'all. Thanks for another great stream. I will see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone.